That's off. That's off. That's off. That's on. That's live. Okay, I think we're good to go. Hello, Shadowcat back with more Pathfinder, second edition. Not the first edition, second edition. Okay, we're still learning second edition, and it's been trying. It's been trying, but I'm still attempting to learn this. There's a lot of things that I'm not thrilled about, but I'm hoping that by the time I get to the end of all this, everything is going to make sense, and it's not as bad as I think it is. And I was desperate enough that I even went and asked Reddit some questions, and Reddit basically called me stupid and said that Pathfinder is not for me, and that maybe I should go play something slightly easier like Chutes and Ladders, or just kill myself, you know. But that was my fault. That was my fault for asking Reddit anything and expecting decency, because Reddit is literally the dumpster cesspit of the internet, and I probably would have been better off asking 4chan. So, lessons were learned. Lessons were learned. Anyway, we're going to get back into this. We'll go over what we did last time. We'll go over some of the things that I've learned, because I have learned a couple of things in the past week, and then we'll get into something more fun, in particular spells, because I'm a wizard. I need some of those. So, if you're here and you're not subscribed already, make sure you do that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button right next to it. That way you get notified every time these videos come out, or every time I do a video, which isn't much nowadays. I'm going to change that. I'm going to work on changing that, because I've kind of gotten off track. I'll fix it. Anyway, if you know somebody else who's also into Pathfinder, especially if they've got some kind of insight for me, that would be really helpful, then go ahead and share this video with them. Otherwise, if you like me, you like what I'm doing here, leave a like on the video. You can leave comments down below. And if you want to do that, might I suggest that you join the Discord? We have one. Everyone's got one nowadays. But we have one too. And if you want to, you can join it, and you can come tell me everything that I'm doing wrong. But if you think I'm doing things right, you can come play with us. We play games. I'm always looking for players, so if you want to come play with us, that's how you do it. And I am looking for players, because I'm still looking for a fourth to start my Warhammer 40k Gene Stealer game. I have 2 groups of 3 people. I have one for a Tuesday game, and I have one for a Saturday game. And I need like a 4th person for one of those, so we can get started. That's all I got. I just need another person for the Gene Stealer game, Tuesday or Saturday, or if I can get enough people for any other day of the week. It's up to you. So, come join us, come play with us, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Before I get started, though, I do see that I have people in the chat. Hello, Blizz, good to see you. Hello, Alden, good to see you, too. I haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you. So I'm glad to have you here. Alright, so let me bring in everything that we need, and I'll go over what we did last time. I'll go over some of the things that I've learned. So there's our browser, there's our spreadsheet. I did go through and reformat everything, and it looks a little bit better. Still not set on how exactly I want everything to look, but it's good enough. I mean, there is an official character sheet, obviously, and it's a good-looking character sheet. I like it. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work that well when you're doing everything digitally, because this is, even though it says a PDF, it's not an enterable PDF. So I can't actually use any of the fields that are on here, which is why I just use spreadsheets. It is what it is. And Alden says, won't be around for long. Currently in China for a summer course. VPN is a coin toss. Currently in my favor. For now. You're in China. Don't eat anything fried. Okay? That's all I'm going to say is don't eat anything fried. And mostly wanted to ask if I saw the last comment on my last Power World video. Have not seen that. Have not seen that. And I could check that right now. I got the YouTubes on my phone. So let's see. Where is my last Power World video? I'll go to the studio. No, I don't want to see anything about pricing. Oh, long story short, the last save is not bricked. No, we knew that it wasn't bricked. The problem is that they highly recommended with the new update when 1.0 came out to start a brand new game, and after 85 episodes of investment, not to mention all the hours put in behind the scenes, we just weren't going to start over, and it didn't really feel right continuing it from where it was. And so it seemed like a really good idea to just kind of end it there. And so that's why we're stopping Power World where it was. It was a fun run, though, and we did our absolute best in the end to try and catch everything, but some things just did not work out in our favor. I mean, some things were simply just above our pay grade, no matter what we did, and some things were just not possible. Mostly the Xenoguard and the Lunaria. Since it's a completely random spawn, there was not much we could do. You've been enjoying playing the new update on your old saves? I mean, that's good. I'm glad you are. We just decided we were going to take a different route. Don't worry, we'll come back with something else. I don't know what that is yet, but we'll come back with something else. I'm going to be changing a lot of things around. Like, I'm going to be dropping Baldur's Gate on my channel because I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun with Baldur's Gate. I don't want to do it. I'm not making myself do it anymore. I'm going to find something else for that slot. And that's a me thing. I have a lot more fun running the games these days than being a player in the games. So, anyway, getting back to this, let's go over what we did last time, and we'll get into the things that I have learned. So, last time, we covered levels 7 through 12. So let's go over those real quick. Level 7, I took Prescient Consumable because we already had Prescient Planner, and it simply built off of that. And I took Split Slot, which means that I can pick one slot and prepare 2 spells in that slot, and then I can pick one or the other. It's okay, I guess. Sure, whatever. Or no, wait, that was no, hold on. That's Untrained Improvisation, that one. We can highlight things for a reason. Prescient Consumable and 4th rank spells. That's what we did. I didn't get to pick the 4th rank spells. Level 8, Quick Recognition. Mostly because at level 1, because we're a student of magic, we already had Recognized Spell. Quick Recognition was a natural growth from that one. And as for a wizard feat, I took the Advanced School spell. Every school has an advanced spell. It seemed reasonable to just take that. We took Focused Catnap because we already have Catnap at level 5. It's an ancestral trait, and it works for us because with the Focused Catnap, we already have a focused item, and we get to burn focus points to bonded item. Focus points are for Hand of the Apprentice, so every time that we do a Catnap, we get 1 Hand of the Apprentice back. That was it. Level 10, we get an Arcane Sense. This will let us, at will, cast Detect Magic so that we can sense magical things around us. We also took non-lethal spells because I don't necessarily want to kill everything. I'm not a murder hobo. Level 11 was interesting because level 11 we took Oxima's Awakening. And Oxima's Awakening is one that I had a big problem with. Because that's going to be a feat. It's an arcane feat, I believe. For level 11? No. It was a general feat. It might... I don't remember. Let's go ahead and group by level. Come down to level 11. Was it down here? No. 10? No, it wasn't that one. What is level 11? Hold on, let's come down here and look at this. Level 11. No, it is a general feat. So now the question is, where was the general feat? Not there. Not there. I don't know. Either way, Oxima's Awakening is going to give us some extra spell slots. The only problem is that, technically speaking, the only way to get Oxima's Awakening is to actually have interacted with the Well of Oxima, which is something I have a huge problem with because that means that it is dictated by the fact that you have played in their specific environment. Which I get that they have their own environment. I get that they have their own story. I get all of that. But if you're making a rule set, your rule set, especially if you intend for people to actually be creative and do this kind of stuff themselves, your rule set should be setting independent. And so by having feats and such in there that say, well, I mean, this is a feat, but it's only available if you have visited this very specific location, it's not good. And this is not the only time I've come across this. Came across this problem in Pokemon when we were doing it. Because when we were doing Pokemon, there were many Pokemon that have very, very specific criteria in which they evolve under, and some of them are location specific. As I recall, when we did that, the only way that I could really handle that was a case-by-case basis where I believe one of them had to be evolved underneath some kind of big stone loop somewhere. And I would have to house rule that to say, well, either I have to put a big stone loop in the game somewhere, ignore it entirely, or just give it like a general biome where they have to be evolved in. But this is the problem when you have very specific settings where this stuff is supposed to take place. So I'm ignoring that. I'm taking the Oxima's Awakening anyway because it works for a wizard, and I don't like it, and I'm not going to get on a tangent there. Which brings me to level 12. Now, level 12, I get a skill feat, and I got a wizard feat. I took Magic Sense, because Magic Sense is like Arcane Sense, but better. Which actually, it makes Arcane Sense completely redundant, because Magic Sense is detect magic constantly. Now, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to take it, because it's a little bit weird. If we come up to wizard feats, where was it? It was a wizard feat, wasn't it? Hold on, let me double check this. Where did we get this from? Level 12. Yeah, skill feat, wizard feat. Should be in here. Oh, I just didn't scroll down far enough, that's why. Yeah, Magic Sense. So magic sense does come from the player core. It's under all of these things. There's no other prerequisites. I'm allowed to take it. However, the archetype is Lich, and I don't know. It just says this archetype offers magic sense at a different level than displayed here, so I think it's okay to take per the rules. And I am trying to stay inside the rules as much as I can. I mean, that is kind of the point of learning the rules. So we took that. And yeah, that pretty much brings up to speed, except for the skill feat. And here's something that, like, really, this one made me angry. This one made me very angry. PC's in. Hello, PC. You're just in time for the rant. So, I needed a skill feat, and I could not find any skill feats that I liked. Okay, I went through most of them. There's practically nothing at level 12. Like, if I go back to group by level, and I come down here to level 12, there are a whole 6 options. And I don't qualify for any of them. And I don't like it because this one requires a Swordmaster dedication and a Master in Medicine. Okay. Operatic Adventure requires the Acrobat dedication. Play to the Crowd requires the Dandy dedication. Recollect Studies requires the Swordmaster dedication. Again! Rugged Survivalist requires the Swordmaster dedication. Again! And Too Angry to Die is what I'm going to be by the end of this stream. So, 5 of these skills up here require a dedication to something. 3 of the 6 require the same dedication. There is nothing up here that is a general feat for anybody to take. Okay? That's not the thing. And even if we're looking at skill feats, okay? Just skill feats, because that's what it says. Okay? Looking down here, level 12, skill feat. Requires Swordmaster dedication. Requires Acrobat or Celebrity dedication. Requires Dandy dedication, Swordmaster dedication, and Swordmaster dedication. These are not skill feats. These are dedication feats. The hell are you talking about? And we don't even have a dedication. So dedication requires an archetype. So when we come up here to character creation, we actually do have a thing up here called archetype. And there are many archetypes. There's the multi-class archetypes up here, but I'm not really interested in those at the moment. Right now we're just looking at all of the archetypes, and there's a bunch of them. Now, the archetypes here are kinda, sorta, if I can understand this correctly, because I'm not even certain that I understand it entirely correctly. They are just, like, general archetypes the same way that Pathfinder 1 used to do them, except that they apply to kinda everything, so long as you meet the prerequisites. But the prerequisites could be met by multiple things. Like, here's one. Clockwork Reanimator. Okay, it's an archetype. It's also part of legacy content. Oh, by the way, did I mention that I learned that, or what legacy content is? Yeah, so here's the thing. Pathfinder 2e came out back in like 2021 or something like that. It's not that old, okay? It's like 5 years old or so. Apparently, whatever they were licensing it through, and I don't know all the details, but whatever licensing they had expired in like 2023, at which point they decided they were going to go through and revamp the entire system, which is why so much of the game has this whole legacy content thing on it. A lot of it is still the same. Most of it has not changed. Some things have. For example, when we were looking at the skill feats last time, I had mentioned that it looked really weird that some of these skill feats required you to have a dexterity of, say, 14. well, how can we have a dexterity of 14 when we just use +1 to an attribute? Well, the reason for that is because prior to that change, we were still rolling our stats like we always did. And so you had a 10 or 11 in one stat, a 13 or 14 in another stat, so on and so forth. When all the licensing changed over, they decided they were going to do away with those numbers since, what do the numbers even mean, right? And they would just go with the bonuses. The bonuses are the only thing they care about now. To an extent, I kind of get it. At the same time, though, I do feel it's a little power creepy. Just a little. It's a little power creepy. But I mean, in terms of like all the other power creep that I've seen, not a big deal. But anyway, here's all the archetypes, and most of these are dedication feat 2. So dedication feat at level 2. So you can take any one of these as you're leveling up, supposedly. They're not actually listed under feats. They have their own section. And if you didn't know about this walking into it, which I didn't, then you would never know. And you just wouldn't. And some of these do change, like the Golem Crafter here, that's a dedication feat 8. Most of these are 2s, 2s, 2s. There was one that I was looking at, actually. Here we go, Flexible Spellcaster. This one still doesn't make any sense to me. Because Flexible Spellcaster is actually listed under the Wizard, where is it? Wizard Archetypes. Yeah, right here. So there's the Wizard, but this is for multi-classing. There's the Elementalist. Here's the Flexible Spellcaster, and look at that. Dedication feat 2. Says it so right here. Here's the problem, though. If we look at Flexible Spellcaster, it says this class feature alters your spellcasting feature, such as arcane spellcasting for the wizard or divine from the cleric. If you choose this class archetype, you must select the flexible spellcaster dedication as your second level feat. Okay, we're still following, right? Prerequisite: you must have a class such as clerics, druids, witches, or wizards that prepares spells in spell slots using the same number of prepared spells every day. Okay. Flexible spellcaster adjustments. You learn spells as normal for your class. Wizard spell book, a witch teaches spells to familiar, blah blah blah. You can cast fewer spells per day, but the number of spell slots per day doesn't advance from 2 to 3 spells at even levels. Reduce the number of cantrips you gain from your class by 2. This archetype doesn't change the way you prepare cantrips. During your daily preparations, you prepare a spell collection. There's a lot of stuff here that it simply alters how you prepare your spells, and it shows at level 1 you get 3 cantrips instead of 4, and still 2 first level spells. Okay, but how can it do that at level 1 when you don't even get the feat until level 2? It's got to retroactively change your character. It hurts my brain. Okay? It hurts my brain. And this is the one that I looked at because I like the idea of flexible casting. I do. But the way all of this is written and developed, it's bad. Okay? It's bad. And this is this is not even this is it hurts me. It hurts me. JP's in. Hello, JP. And Alden is out. Gotta get some sleep. Well, yeah, if you're in China, I can only imagine what time it is there. Well, thank you for coming by anyway, Alden. It was good to see you again. So obviously I'm not taking any of these archetypes. It doesn't matter. I don't have to look at it right now. It's fine. However, getting back to the feats, I still don't have a level 12 feat, and I have one in mind. I know what I'm going to get, but I don't like it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to all skills. Let me go to all skills because there is a skill over here, and it is a level 1 skill. I'm going to take a level 1 skill at level 12. You're gonna... If there's any justice in the world, you're going to be just as angry as I am when I talk about this. What am I going to take for level 12? I'm going to take a feat called Assurance for level 12. It's right here. It says you receive a fixed result on a skill check. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look. Assurance. Even in the worst circumstances, you can perform basic tasks. Choose a skill you are trained in. You can forego rolling a skill check for that skill to receive the result of 10 plus your proficiency bonus. Do not apply any other bonuses, penalties, or modifiers. You can take this feat multiple times. Each time, choose a different skill to gain the benefits of that skill. They have taken the Take 10 rule and they have locked it behind a feat. Why, in God's name, would you do that? What would compel you to take a basic mechanic of the game and lock it behind a feat? The idea behind taking 10 was to save time. So you didn't have to roll dice on literally everything, especially when the roll was already guaranteed. Like, if there is nothing pressuring you, why would you roll 10? A really, really good example of this is survival to get by. Let me go ahead and pop back into, or over here to the D20 PFSRD, because I want to show off a skill. The skill is survival. Now, survival is a really good skill to have because it does a lot of good things for you. Most people think of it for tracking, and honestly, the number of times I've ever had players track something is, right, 0. Because tracking is like super specific, and it only comes up very few times. However, survive in the wilderness. You can keep yourself and others safe and fed in the wilderness. The survival DCs by C table, survival DC by task. Let's come down here and look. So, survival DC. Get along in the wild. You move it up to half of your overland speed while hunting and foraging. No food and water supplies needed. You can provide food and water for one person for every 2 points by which your check exceeds 10. Now, this can be modified depending on the environment, but the idea is really simple. The survival DC is 10. And under normal circumstances, if you or at least have survival as a class skill, okay, maybe you don't allow it if you don't have it as a class skill, but if you have it as a class skill, why can't you take 10, since there's nothing pressuring you to do this? I could make everybody roll survival to make sure that they get along in the wild every day, but if you are a ranger with a decent wisdom, So let's say you've got a +3 in wisdom. And even at level 1, you put 1 rank into survival. Then you get a +3 because it's your class skill, so that's a +4. Your wisdom gives you a +3, so that's a +7. If we simply take 10, that's a 17, meaning that a ranger naturally has an ability to get along in the wild, and they can even provide for other people. That almost seems like a really good reason to have a ranger in the party. Because if you have a fighter, a paladin, a cleric, and a wizard in the party, well, guess what? I don't think any of them has survival. Which means that, yeah, maybe they do have to roll for it. Maybe some days they do go hungry. But the idea is that with Take 10, you're saving time, and you're allowing your characters to simply be competent. Okay? Let them be competent. Just because you can roll for everything doesn't mean you should roll for everything. And now we get back to assurance. They've taken a basic mechanic and locked it behind a feat. So now I couldn't take 10, even if I wanted to, unless I take a feat for it. The only defense that I can give this, only defense, is that it says even in the worst circumstances. Now, Take 10, per the rules, did not allow you to take 10 if you were under any kind of duress. You could not take 10 in combat. You could not even take 10 in necessarily inclement weather. If I'm understanding this correctly, this means that I can perform or take 10 in the middle of combat. Is that true? I'm not even sure. I'm going to go ahead and assume it is. Number one, because it's in their own wording, and because if you're going to lock this behind a feat, you damn well better make it worth the feat. So, for level 12, I will go ahead and take Assurance, Arcana, since it's my primary skill as a wizard. And then in theory, I'd have to take it again for every single skill that I have. Again, this is another one of those things where, like, somebody's going to have to make a really good explanation for me, a really good case for why I shouldn't just house rule this back the way that it used to be. I don't know. And I do know that there's a critical effect where if you exceed something by like 5 or 10 points, it's an automatic critical success. If you wanted to put in like a footnote where if you take 10, you cannot critically succeed, I'm good with that. I think that's a really great idea. Allow take 10, but take off the critical success. You can't critically succeed, and you wouldn't take 10 if you could fail at all, so critical failure doesn't even factor. If you take 10 on something, you can succeed. Great, I like that. I think that's a really clean rule. Some of the decisions they've made are absolutely baffling. But there we go. There's my level 12 skill check. So, now we can go ahead and we can start looking into spells, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is going to be a much, much better experience. So, before we get into the spells, let's go ahead and figure out exactly how many spells we even can get. So, I'm going to go ahead and just... Well, hold on. So, I'll make a little bit of a list there. We've got cantrips and then spell levels, ranks, excuse me. 1 through 9. Obviously, we're not going to get that many, but we have the listing there. So let's figure out how many we actually get to pick. So down here under Wizard Spellcasting, this tells me how many we can prepare. Spellbook. Here we go. So every arcane spell has a written version, and which you record in your personalized spellbook. You start with a spellbook worth 10 silver pieces or less, which you receive for free and must study each day to prepare your spells. The spellbook's form and name are up to you. It might be a musty leather-bound tome or an assortment of thin metal discs connected to a brass ring. Its name might be esoteric, like the Tome of Silent Shadows. I have never been silent in my life. Or something more academic, like the Advanced Pyromatic Applications of Gelmeri Elemental Theory. I just call my spellbook Volume 1. It contains your choice of 10 arcane cantrips and 5 first-rank arcane spells. So, right out the gate, we put 10 and 5. You choose these from the common spells in the arcane spell list, or from other arcane spells you gain access to. Alright, it says specifically common spells, and I have noticed that some spells are listed as uncommon. Spells arcane. Yeah, so some spells have a little U on them. They are uncommon. And some of them are even rare. And some of them have an H on them for some reason. Oh, heightenable. That's it. So, we have to pick from common for those. Each time you gain a level, you add 2 arcane spells to your spellbook of any rank for which you have spell slots, chosen from the common spells of your tradition or others that you gain access to. You also add spells to your spellbook with the Learn a Spell activity. When you gain a spell slot of a new rank, you also gain the additional spells of your school's curriculum, unless it is the Unified Magical Theory, which we can go back and look at. Since I don't really need this page anymore since we're done with feats, we can come to classes, arcane schools, and come down to the Unified Magical Theory. You don't have a curriculum. Instead, you gain an additional first level wizard class feat. Did we take an additional feat for this one? I don't think we did. And you add 1 first rank spell of your choice to your spellbook to represent your diverse studies. Your studies into the very nature of magic itself have let you use it more efficiently. Instead of using the drain bonded item once per day, you can use it once per day for each rank of spell you cast, recalling a spell of that rank each time. So we're going to get a first level feat. Guess I do have to pick one. It's a wizard class feat though, so it's the good ones. And I get 1 additional level 1 feat, so that puts us up to 6 there. And we can look at feats later again. Not right now though. We're not doing it right now. Okay, so that being the case, we get 2 arcane spells of any spell rank for which you have spell slots, which means that at level 2, we're just going to get 2 more rank 1 spells, so that'll bring us up to 8. At level 3, though, we get access to second rank spells, and same thing at level 4, so essentially we're just going to get 4 level 2s, 4 level 3s, 4 level 4s, 4 level 5s, and 4 level 6s. And so that's what we get to pick. Which is a fair number of spells. And I should have enough space, so this is 3 by 5, so I got 15 slots here. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay, so let's get started then. We'll start looking at spells, and we'll start looking at cantrips, because We have first rank cantrips, and then there are simply first rank spells. Why cantrips are called first rank, I don't know. They should just be called cantrips. So, can I simply sort these by common? Show filters? Because I'm only allowed to pick from the common, it says. Can I just do that? Nope, that's not how that's going to work. Never mind. Alright, so basically we just have to be a little, discerning. Okay, so take a look at what we've got. Approximate, magically estimate the number of nearby objects. It turns you into the Rain Man. Okay. Magical autism. Good spell. Bullhorn, magnify your voice to be heard at a distance. I think that was just shout before. Caustic blast. Blast deals acid damage. Daze is daze. Okay. Deep breath. Detect magic. We have detect magic as a constant ability thanks to magic sense, so we definitely do not need that. Detect metal. Draw moisture. Eat fire. Electric arc. Let's see. Figment. Create a simple auditory or visual illusion. Well, I mean, that automatically goes on my list. I'm an illusionist. Of course I'm going to take Figment. Frostbite. Damage a creature with bitter cold. Gale Blast. Damage and push creatures. JP says cantrips are spell leveled now. Does that mean that cantrip as a concept is gone and there is a cost slot to be able to use them? The answer to that is actually no. Okay, the answer to that is no. It says back here in the wizard class when you're preparing, it says a cantrip is a special type of spell that doesn't use spell slots. You can cast a cantrip at will any number of times per day. It is always automatically heightened to half of your spell level rounded up. This is usually equal to the highest rank of wizard spell slot you have. So, for example, a first level spell, your cantrips are first rank. For a fifth level, they would be third rank spells. The rules for cantrips honestly have not changed, except for the whole heightening thing. Why they thought that it was necessary to put first rank here is honestly beyond me. I do not comprehend it. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, Frostbite, cold damage. Okay. Gale Blast. Wind flows from your outstretched hands and whirls around you in a 5-foot emanation. Each creature in the area takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage with a fortitude save. And JP says, so why put it at level 1 if it's a cast at will? I'm confused. Yeah, welcome to my world. Actually, you know what this probably is? This is probably a case of they were so desperate to explain everything that they over-explained it. Like, you ever seen stuff from, like, the government? Where the government will try to explain something and they will do so in the most absolute esoteric language they possibly can. Because they think they're clarifying. It says first rank. If we were to replace that with level 1, that might make a little bit more sense, because you get your cantrips at level 1. I don't know, though. I don't know. Glamorize. So, using simple magical gesture, you alter a minor detail about your appearance. Add or remove highlights to your hair, color, apply or remove cosmetics, add polish or accessories to your nails, or create a small environmental effect that's confined to your person, like adjusting the lighting in your to favor your good side, cause a brief wind to make your hair blow dramatically, make a small chime occur as you smile. While the spell is active, you can sustain it to make further adjustments. The changes persist until the spell's duration ends. I like it. I'll take it. Glamorize. And JP says, ha! Government work. Me? Ah, story of my life. You poor bastard. Okay, glass shield. Protect yourself with a glass shield. Why would you want a glass shield? Gouging claw. Morph your limb into a claw and attack with it. I'm a catfolk. I already have claws. Ignition. Burn a creature up close or at range. Okay, that one I'm taking. Everybody needs an attack spell. I mean, you gotta have at least one attack spell. Technically speaking, if you're going to be a magic caster for your cantrips, you're going to want to have 2 attack spells. One that targets armor class and one that targets saves. Ignition... let's see. JP says glass shield. What the hell? We'll go back and look at it. Ignition, it says... You snap your fingers and point to a target which begins to smolder. Make an attack spell roll against the target's AC. Alright, so that's our attack roll then. Now, as for glass shield, you summon a layer of clear glass to keep you from harm. This counts as using the raise a shield action. What is the raise a shield action, I wonder? You position your shield to protect yourself. When you have raised a shield, you gain its listed circumstance bonus to your AC. Your shield remains raised until the start of your next turn. Wait, so do shields not just give you an armor bonus now? Okay, hold on a second. I need to look at this. Equipment. Armor? Are shields going to be in here? Shield. No? Guess it's not. Maybe it counts as a held item? I mean, you do have to hold the shield. Rhythm Bone... Everlet Crystal... Nothing in here is a shield. Okay, I mean, I have to assume that shields exist, right? Oh, wait, here we go. It's its own category. Okay, shield. Well... I mean, here's a buckler. Light bulk, makes sense. It's a buckler. 1 AC. Okay. Does it say something down here? A very small shield, favorite of duelists and quick, lightly armored warriors. It is typically made of steel and strapped to your forearm. I mean, not usually strapped to your forearm. Usually it's handheld. You can raise a shield with your buckler as long as you have that hand free or holding the object. I guess you don't actually get your armor class bonus unless you use this raise a shield action. I have mixed feelings on that. Like, on a certain level, I do kind of like it. I really do, actually. It kind of makes sense. At the same time, it also seems a little micromanagey. However, thinking about the whole 3-action economy that Pathfinder 2nd Edition uses, Blizz says, why do that? No, hold on a second. Hold on. 3-action economy. It used to be in Pathfinder 1 that as a standard action you could attack. Your shield was just a passive bonus to your armor classes, so you were assumed to be using it. So you would have a standard action, attack, and a move action. So let's translate that now to the Pathfinder 2e economy. 1 action to raise your shield, 1 action to attack, and 1 action to stride, air quotes, which is just move your speed. From a standard and move action to the 3-action economy, but it actually hasn't changed. It does mean, however, that if you chose to use 2 actions to attack and stride, you wouldn't get to raise your shield. It seems micromanagey, but I don't think it's a bad change. I don't. Blizz says you would instinctively raise your shield. I do agree with you. The only thing is now they're actually making you do it. If you want to make sure that you are using your shield in every combat, make sure that you actually do it. Just say, I keep my shield up, that's 1 action, and I attack. I keep my shield up, and I attack. They've made it no longer automatic, but it hasn't taken anything away. It's a change that I'm okay with. I'm okay with this one. It's different, but I get it. So getting back to the glass shield then, this counts as using the raise a shield action, so, I mean, you're spending a point to do it, giving you a +1 circumstance bonus to AC until the start of your next turn, but it does not require a hand to use. You can shield block with the glass shield. It has a hardness of 2. You can use the spell's reaction to reduce damage from any spell, any magic spell or magical effect, even if it doesn't deal physical damage. When you shield block, the shield explodes in a shower of glass. If the creature that broke it is within 5 feet, the shards deal 1d4 piercing damage to the creature with a basic reflex save. After you use shield block, the spell ends and you cannot cast it again for 10 minutes. Okay, Blizz, I see you have to leave. Thank you for coming out here. It was good to have you here, and I hope to have you back here next week. So, you take care. You cannot cast a spell again for the 10 minutes. It's a cantrip! Why can't I cast it again for 10 minutes? It is a cantrip that gives me a +1 bonus to AC. Why? Why? Just why? I thought spells were going to make me happy. Okay, fine, whatever. Alright, illuminate. You light all the non-magical light sources in an area that use fire to provide their light, such as candles, lamps, and sconces. So, light everything in a room. Alright, I like it. But I'm a wizard. I have better light. Speaking of, wait, here we go. Infectious enthusiasm. Encourage yourself and an ally to improve 1 roll apiece. It's like guidance, except it takes 2 actions. That's a trap. The light spell. The light spell can be heightened? Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Light. You create an orb of light. Interesting. It used to be you had to cast it on an item. It sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light for the next 20 feet. In a color of your choice. You can color it now. If you create light in the same space as a willing creature, you can attach the light to that creature, causing it to float near that creature as it moves. You can sustain the spell and move the light up to 60 feet. You can attach or detach it from the creature as part of a move action. You can dismiss it at will. If you cast light spell while you already have 4 light spells active, you must choose one of the existing spells to end. Interesting. Okay, that's actually really interesting. They have combined light and dancing lights into one spell. And it now takes 2 actions to cast it. So it's weird, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And if you heighten it to the 4th level, the orb sheds light in a 60-foot radius and then dim for another 60 feet. This is a really good change. All right, we're taking light. Live wire. Slash and shock a creature with an electrified filament. Not really my thing. Message. Speak a message to a distant creature who can reply. Normal range is 120 feet. You can heighten it to 500 feet. I mean, it is kind of useful sometimes. It's kind of niche. It's a good spell, though. I'm going to take message. And I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, I mean, message. Why would you want message? Well, here's the thing. Communication, especially communication inside of any kind of tactical environment, is always key. Notice that it says, you don't need to be, like, within line of sight. You mouth words quietly, but instead of it coming out of your mouth, they're transferred directly to the ears of the target. While others cannot hear your words any better than if you normally mouth them, the target can hear your words as if they were standing next to you. The target can give a brief response as a reaction or as a free action on their next turn if they wish, but they must be... Oh, okay, they must be able to see you then. Doesn't say that you have to be able to see them, though. If they respond, their response is delivered directly to your ear, just like the original message. It's a useful one. It's kind of like they say that communications is like the most powerful technology ever invented. If we could go back to the medieval period, and we could deliver walkie-talkies to one army, that army would pretty much just dominate the entirety of Europe. Just a walkie-talkie. That's all they need. Let's see. Musical accompaniment. Maybe. It provides a +1 status bonus to performance checks. It could also provide this bonus to deception, diplomacy, and intimidation. I mean, I would like to have my own soundtrack. Needle darts. Turn pieces of metal into needles and shoot them at foes. So, the defense is AC. Actually, with ignition, the defense is still AC, so yeah, never mind. Phase bolt. Project a bolt of magical energy that stutters in and out of phase until it reaches the target. Make a ranged spell attack roll against their AC. Prestidigitation. Okay, we have to have that one. That is a wizard staple. It's also a bit of a litmus test. If you cannot either pronounce or spell prestidigitation, you're not allowed to be a wizard. Protect your companion, shield your eidolon or minion. I don't have one of those. A puff of poison. Exhale a shimmering cloud of toxic breath at an enemy's face. They take 1d4 poison damage and 1d4 persistent poison damage, depending on the fortitude save. Read aura. Detect if an object is magical. I have detect magic at will. Root reading. You gain general insights into the immediate vicinity by sending your sense through the root system of trees and bushes. That's not me. Scatter Scree. Evoke rocks to bludgeon and create difficult terrain. So, we had, what was it? Needle darts earlier. That's going to do piercing damage. Scatter Scree is going to do, bludgeoning damage. Here's a regular shield spell. Hold on, let's take a look at this one. You raise a magical shield of force. This counts as the raise a shield action, giving you a +1 circumstance bonus to AC, but does not require a hand to use. While it's in effect, you can use the shield block reaction with your magical shield. The shield has a hardness of 5. You can use the reaction to reduce damage from any effect, even if it doesn't deal physical damage. After you use shield block, you cannot cast it again for another 10 minutes. Why? What is this shield block and why is it just... You snap... It's a reaction. You snap your shield in place to ward off the blow. Your shield prevents you from taking any amount of damage up to the shield's hardness. You and the shield each take any remaining damage, possibly breaking or destroying the shield. So, as a reaction, I can use shield block. It's going to take away 5 points of damage from whatever's incoming, and then even if it doesn't destroy my shield, I still can't cast it again for 5 minutes or 10 minutes? I'm taking shield just because shield is a practical spell. And PC says it's a risk-reward thing. I don't... It's a cantrip, though. Like, if you wanted to do this, make it a level 1 spell. Okay? Make it a level 1 spell. That way, if I decide to shield block and I burn up my level 1 shield spell, that's my choice, and then I can't cast it again. Unless I prepared 2 of them. It says, do I block now or later? Like in Magic the Gathering, using a blocker and losing now, or blocking something bigger later? No, I get what they're doing. It's just, we're talking about cantrips here. This is stupid for a cantrip. Sigil. Leave a magical mark. You harmlessly place your unique magical spell, which is about 1 square inch in size, on a targeted creature or object. The mark can be visible or invisible, and you can change it from one state to another by using an interact action to touch the target. The mark can be scrubbed or scraped off with 5 minutes of work. If it's on a creature, it fades naturally over the course of a week. The time before the mark fades increases depending on your heightened rank. At 3rd level, it fades after a month. At 5th level, after a year. And at the 7th level, never. Oh, that has possibilities. I'm taking Sigil. I mean, if for nothing else, I can vandalize everything now. And by the way, it doesn't say or tell you what it has to be. Okay? It doesn't tell you what it must be. It just says some kind of arcane sigil. That means that you can post memes now as a wizard. Okay? It just says you place your unique magical sigil. If your unique magical sigil just happens to be Dick Butt, it'll last forever. Yes, I have made the Troll Wizard. And all it took was a cantrip. Slashing Gust. Cut creatures with ripples of air. Again, it's an AC spell, so that's a no. Spout. Batter creatures with a Water Blast. Water Blast upwards coming out of the ground, rising from a pool, or even manifesting from thin air. Any creatures in the area take 2d4 bludgeoning damage with a basic reflex saving throw. Now there we go. We wanted to have a saving attack, so this is a good option. And it heightens. So we'll take Spout. That way we've got fire and water. Summon Instrument. I don't play. Take Root. Reinforce a creature's stance or grip with roots. There's a similar spell in Pathfinder 1, and like it's barely ever used. Tanglevine. It's basically just entangle for a single target, which, you know, can be useful. Telekinetic Hand. Oh, that's an absolute must. Telekinetic Hand. And that makes 10. That's 10 spells right there. Is there anything else that I'm going to regret not taking? Telekinetic Projectile. You hurl a loose, unattended object that is within range and has 1 bulk or less at the target. Make a spell attack roll against their AC. If you hit, it deals 2d6 bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage as appropriate for the object you hurled. No specific traits or magic properties of the hurled item affect the attack damage. Oh, I kind of missed that one. And JP says Mage Hand? Yeah, it's Mage Hand. Telekinetic Hand is just Mage Hand. Specifically, you create a floating magical hand, either invisible or ghost-like, that grasps the target object and levitates it slowly up to 20 feet in any direction. When you sustain the spell, you can move the object an additional 20 feet. The object is in the air when the spell ends, it falls. And it has to be of light bulk or less. However, if you upcast it at the 3rd level, it can be 1 bulk or less. At the 5th, it increases the range to 60 feet and 1 bulk or less. At the 7th level, it is 60 feet and 2 bulk or less. Now, interestingly, something that I am kind of liking about 2E, and yes, there are things that I like about it. I made a character once upon a time that had a disability. They lost their hand in an adventuring quest gone wrong. And I had made it so that they used Mage Hand to replace their missing hand. And they would even wear a glove or use the Mage Hand to animate a glove so it looked like a regular hand. Because they have the new sustain rules in here, it actually makes it a lot easier to rebuild that character, because once they cast it like in the morning, they can sustain it literally all day, which is like super convenient. I like the sustain rules. I do have a little bit of a problem with some things, like Figment up here. Oh no, Figment is also sustained. Never mind. There are some illusions that you are required to sustain them, but while you're sustaining them, they also still have a duration on them. Why? Either have it have a duration or have it be sustained. It doesn't make sense. Timber, drop a tree on someone. Okay, I can now attack people with Looney Tunes logic. I'm okay with this. Time sense. When you cast the spell, you gain a perfect sense of time. You learn exactly what time it is, down to the second. You can instead choose to gain a perfect sense of the calendar if you have knowledge in that area. If you're trained in nature, you can learn exactly how long it is until sunrise, how many days until the next solstice. If you're trained in astronomy lore, you can learn precisely when any known predictable astronomical conjunction will begin and end, and so on. Okay, that's interesting, but why? Tremor signs send a sentence through stone. That's basically just message with extra steps. Void warp, damage and weaken living creatures with void energy, and warp step. When you walk the earth warped beneath your feet, your steps extend, distance contracts, and everything is just a little bit closer. You gain a plus 5 foot status bonus to your speed till the end of turn. You then stride twice. You can use warp step to burrow, climb, fly, or swim instead of stride if you have the corresponding movement type. I mean, useful, but we don't need it. Nope, I'm good with my cantrips so far. They're good. We've got Figment, Glamorize, Ignition, Light, Message, Prestidigitation, Shield, Sigil, Spout, and Telekinetic Hand. That's a pretty good list. So, we then get to move on to level 1. And we're going to get 8 of those. Only problem is there's 119 to go through. There's only 50 cantrips. So this might take a bit. First off, that one's rare, so I'm not even going to look at it. Acidic Burst. Create a shell of acid around yourself that immediately bursts outward. Yeah, I don't care about that one. Admonishing Ray. I don't need a ray to admonish people. Agitate. I don't need a spell to agitate people. I do that naturally. Air Bubble. React to create air for creature to breathe. It's a good preparation spell. I don't necessarily need it as a reaction, though. Alarm. Oh, Alarm is always good. Alarm is always good. Like, the reason why you want Alarm is because you have to sleep at some point. Okay? Everybody has to sleep at some point. An Alarm simply says, you ward an area, and it's a 20-foot burst, which I'm led to believe is the same thing as radius. And JP says, LMAO, I heard Hasidic. Hasidic burst. You create a shell around yourself that immediately explodes outward. Anybody caught in the blast becomes a schlemiel. And JP says, red alarm! Red alarm! I mean, you're not wrong. So, you create an area that's warded. It's a 20-foot radius, which is good. It's not perfect. It's a rather small area, but... when you cast Alarm, select a password. Whenever a small or larger corporeal creature enters the spell's area without speaking the password, the alarm sends your choice of a mental alert, in which case it gains the mental trait, or an audible alarm, with sound and volume of a handbell, in which case it gains the auditory trait. Either option automatically awakens you, And the bell allows each creature in the area to attempt a DC 15 perception check to also wake up. A creature aware of the alarm must succeed a stealth check against the spell's DC or trigger the spell when moving into the area. Alarm is just good. So is animate rope. But I usually don't take it. Ant Haul is good, allows you to carry more. Although I usually find things to carry stuff for me. I'll get to that later. Anticipate Peril. That's a trap spell. That one's a rare, so we'll skip it. Befuddle. You sow seeds of confusion in your target's mind. No. Breadcrumbs. Leave a trail behind a creature. That's for if you don't have a ranger in the party. Briny Bolt. Hurl a bolt of salt water from your extended hand. We already have Spout, though. You hurl a bolt of salt water from your extended hand. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. Okay. Buoyant Bubbles. Camel Spit. Carryall. Here's the one I was thinking of. So, Ant Haul will increase your strength and light to carry more. Carryall, however, a small platform magical force materializes adjacent to you to carry cargo. It's invisible or has a ghostly appearance, 2 foot in diameter, and follows 5 feet behind you, floating just above the ground. It holds 5 bulk of objects if they can fit on it. Any objects atop the platform fall to the ground when the spell ends. You can sustain the spell to move the spell or the platform up to 30 feet along the ground, to make it stay in place, or to have it return to you and resume following. It ends if anyone tries to ride on top of it, which I think is dumb, but if you heighten it to level 4, it can carry up to 10 bulk, creatures can ride atop it, and it can hover in the air. Now, if we compare that to Ant Haul, it lasts for the same amount of time, but you reinforce their musculoskeletal system to bear more weight. They can carry 3 more bulk than normal before becoming encumbered, and up to a maximum of 6 more. I think Carryall's the better decision. And PC says, wait, I detect an alarm spell. Oh great, now we need the password. The spell fades. Seriously? Change your spell passwords. Okay? And change your regular passwords too. I'm taking Carryall. Charm. A creature becomes more friendly to you. It's a wizard staple for a reason. I'm taking Charm. Chilling Spray. I don't like cold things. Command. Now, Command is an interesting one. I like the spell Command, although its usefulness is debatable. I mean, it only lasts for 1 turn. However, sometimes you only need 1 turn. I'm putting on the maybe list. Because I only get 8 spells and we're still in the seas. Create Water. I'm taking Create Water. The reason I'm taking Create Water is because Create Water has, for decades, been strictly the realm of divine casters. And I think that has been an absolute travesty. Create Water has so very many uses. It just says you conjure 2 gallons of water. If nobody drinks it, it evaporates after 1 day. Okay, that's fine. You know what you can do with 2 gallons of water, though? You can douse a fire. You can wash your hands. Or my favorite, you can throw it on the ground to find invisible creatures. It is a level 1 detect invisibility. And JP says, did you know you can cast Create Water in someone's lungs? No, you can't. You have to be able to see the point where you're casting, and you can't see the inside of their lungs. Dem's the rules. Dehydrate. Make a creature parched, damaging and enfeebling them. No, that's alright. Disguise magic. Mask the aura of an item or spell. Dizzying colors. It's an illusion spell. I want it. I like my illusions. Still only in the D's and I've already got 5 spells. Okay. Echoing weapon. No. Deja vu. You loop a thought process in the target's mind, forcing it to repeat a moment's worth of actions. The target must attempt a will save. If they fail, whatever actions the target uses on its next turn, it must repeat on its following turn. The actions must be repeated in the same order and as close to the same specifics as possible. For example, if a target makes an attack, it must repeat the attack against the same creature if possible, and if the target moves, it must move the same distance and direction if possible on its next turn. Interesting. PC says, wait for them to take a breath during their evil monologue, then cast it in their mouth. Gonna require a perception check for that. Let's see. Endure? Oh, this is not Endure Elements. I was gonna say, Endure Elements is great. But this is just 5 temporary hit points that last for 1 minute. That's pointless. Enfeeble? No. Fashionista. The target's clothes are transformed into ostentatious attire that epitomizes high-end local fashion. I mean, maybe? Fear? I like the idea of the spell Fear, but the fact that the duration is so very, very short. No. Fleet Step just makes you faster. Okay. Fold metal. Bend a metal object into a ball. No larger than an egg. It reverts to its original shape only when you dismiss the spell. Why? What's the point? Force Barrage. Now, this is one that I need to take, because this is the new magic missile. So, you fire a shard of solidified magic toward a creature that you can see. It automatically hits and deals 1d4 force damage. For each additional action you use when casting the spell, increase the number of shards you shoot by 1, to a maximum of 3 shards for 3 actions. So, yeah, we're taking this one. So, Force Barrage. And PC says you would actually have to be wearing clothes for that one to work. That's true, but we'll get to that in a moment. Forge is an uncommon. That's uncommon. Gentle Landing. React to save a falling creature. It's basically Featherfall. Goblin Pox. Infect a creature with the Goblin Pox. No. Gravitational Pull. Not interested. Grease, however. I'm very much interested in Grease. And I'm running out of spells here to pick. Or not to pick, but I got too many spells. Gust of Wind, Helpful Steps. You call forth a ladder or staircase. I'm going to get Fly later, so who needs that? Hydraulic Push? No. Illusory Disguise. I'm taking that one. And why? Number 1, because I love illusions. And by the way, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's my 8 level 1 spells. Illusory Disguise. Again, this is another one of those weird ones where it's a sustained spell, but it has a duration of 1 hour. And I don't know why. If it's a concentration spell, shouldn't it just be concentrate? You create an illusion that causes your target to appear as another creature of the same body shape and with roughly similar height, within 6 inches, weight within 50 pounds. It is typically good enough to hide their identity, but not to impersonate a specific individual. The spell changes their appearance and voice, but not their mannerisms. You can change the appearance of its clothing and worn items, such as making armor look like a dress. Held items are unaffected, and any worn item removed from the creature returns to its true appearance. Specifically, I mean, I figure if you wanted to disguise yourself, you could use this to simply make clothes. And thus, infinite wardrobe. Who needs fashionista now? And it heightens. So if you heighten to the 3rd level, you can appear as a creature the same size, even a specific individual. At the 4th level, you can do it to up to 10 willing creatures. So that's kind of cool. Illusory object. Just make an illusory object. Instant pottery. Make a pot. Invisible item makes an item disappear. Item facade disguises an item. Jump lets you jump good. Kinetic ram. Leaden stips. Lock. So it used to be called arcane lock. Now it's just lock. Good spell. Mending. Actually, that's interesting. Mending is a level 1 spell now. So you repair the target item. You restore 5 hit points per spell rank to the target, potentially removing the broken condition if this repairs it past the item's broken threshold. You can't replace lost pieces or repair an object that's been completely destroyed. I wonder why they felt the need to make it a level 1 spell now instead of a cantrip. Message rune. It's like message, except you can leave it. Mind link. Mentally impart 10 minutes worth of information in an instant. Not bad. Mud pit. Conjure mud to slow movement. Mystic armor. This is mage armor. Ward yourself with magical armor. You gain a +1 bonus to your armor class and a maximum dexterity modifier of 5 while wearing mystic armor. You use your unarmored proficiency to calculate your armor class. If you heighten it to level 4, you get a +1 bonus to saving throws. Level 6, it's a +2 and +1 to saving throws. Level 8, it's a +2 and +2 to saving throws. And if you heightened it to level 10, because we have 10th level spells now, it's +3 and +3. I'm not taking it just because if you're a wizard, learn to not get hit. Negate aroma, noxious vapors, penumbral shroud. Sounds fun. You envelop a target in a shroud of shadow. The target perceives light as 1 step lower than it actually is. That could be fun if you have a party member who's like sensitive to bright light. Actually, that it even says so. This effect is helpful to creatures sensitive to light. A creature can willingly choose to be the subject to the failure effect of the spell. Cool. Pest form, pet cache, phantasmal minion. Oh, I like this spell. You summon a phantasmal minion. The minion is roughly the shape of a humanoid. I don't have room for it, though. Pocket library. Like Vil Sorel, you collect information from all around you and store it in book form in an extra-dimensional library. Huh. That's a rare spell, though. Pummeling Rubble. Hurl a cone of rocks to batter creatures. Quick Sort. Restyle. Make permanent style changes to clothing. So, how is this different than Fashionista? And JP says only 1 minion? Yes, only 1 minion, and it's invisible, not yellow. Restyle. Permanently change the appearance of one piece of clothing currently worn by you or an ally to better fit your aesthetic sensibilities. You can change its color, texture, pattern, and other minor parts of the design, but the changes can't alter the clothing's overall shape, size, or purpose. The changes can't increase the quality of craftsmanship or artistry of the clothing, but particularly gouache choices for the color and pattern might decrease its aesthetic appeal. Gouache? Gauche? Not exactly sure what the proper pronunciation is. I think it's gauche, actually. The spell transforms existing materials into desired appearance and never alters the material or creates more material than what was originally part of the object. Basically, it's Joseph's coat of many colors, alright? It's still the same coat, it's just many colors now. It is an unlimited duration, though, so it could be useful. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling purple. Oh, wait, hold on. Change this piece of clothing. What if you made a fabric golem? Could you then change the color of your golem? I don't know. Runic Body. Temporarily apply magical runes to a creature's unarmed attacks. So all of its unarmed attacks become +1 striking unarmed attacks, getting +1 item bonus to its attack rolls and increases the number of damage dice to 2. Interesting. Runic Weapon does the same thing to your weapon. Schadenfreude. Distract foes with their exaltation at your failures. I'd rather not. Seashell of Stolen Sound, Share Lore, Shattering Gem, Shielded Arm, Shockwave, Sleep. Sleep is useful. I like sleep. Summon Animal, Summon Construct, Summon Undead. So, no generic Summon Monster anymore. But Summon Animal is basically the same thing. Sure Strike, that's a trap spell. Synchronize. Place sigils on your targets that flash at a pre-specified time. Okay. Tailwind, Temporary Tool, Tether, Thicket of Knives. Illusory copies of your weapon arm improve your ability to feint. I mean, seems okay. Thunderstrike, call down a Thunderbolt. Interesting. It deals 1d12 electrical damage and 1d4 sonic damage to the target with a basic reflex save. A target wearing metal armor takes a -1 circumstance bonus to its save, and if damaged by this spell, is clumsy for 1 round. So Lightning Strike become a level 1 spell? That's weird. Alright, well, I mean, I'm pretty good with my my level 1 spell list. I think we're in a good place. I wish I had the Invisible Servant, but I'm good. Okay. Now, as for levels 2 through 6, we only get 4 spells apiece, so we'll have to be a little bit more discerning. There's 131 level 1 spells from 119. It seems, though, that level 2 has the most. So let's see if we can get through these kind of quickly. Acid Grip, Animated Assault, Ash Cloud, Befitting Attire, Blazing Armory, Blazing Bolt, fire 1 to 3 flaming bolts at different foes. That's basically the Scorching Ray. Blood Vendetta, Blur. Blur's a good spell. Let's see. Brine Dragon Bile. Burrow Ward, Buzzing Servants. A Swarm of Bees. That's a rare spell, though. Not the bees! Charitable Urge. Make a creature give away an object. That's funny. It's like, oh, that's really nice. Can I have it? No. Casting Spell. Can I have it? Yes. Clad in metal. Coated item in metal of your choice. Cleanse air. Confetti cloud. Create food. Hold on. I saw create water. Create food? You create enough food to feed 6 medium creatures for a day. The food is bland and unappealing, but it is nourishing. After 1 day, if nobody has eaten the food, it decays and becomes inedible. Most small creatures eat 1/4 as much, and most large creatures eat 10 times as much. Seems a little unbalanced. However, if you heighten this to level 4, you can feed 12 creatures. If you heighten it to level 6, you can feed 50. And if you heighten it to level 8, you can feed 200 medium creatures. I'm taking create food. I'm taking create food. I'm doing it. And JP says, it's the Druid Feast. I mean, just like Create Water used to be on the Divine Spell list, there was also Create Food that was on the Divine list. And now we've got it. I didn't think that it would, or that one would make it to the Arcane Spell list, but here we are. Dancing Shield. You levitate a touch shield and send it to orbit around a creature. I wonder. You levitate touch shield. When you cast the spell and sustain it for up to 1 minute, so I mean, why is it up to 1 minute? If it's sustained, just let them sustain it. The shield uses the raise a shield action to protect the target creature. And guess what? It doesn't disappear for 10 minutes afterwards. However, if it says sustain for up to 1 minute, if it expires after a minute no matter what you do... Again, The way sustain works is after you cast a spell, you can spend 1 action to sustain it. That's how sustain works. In theory, you could have up to 3 sustain spells going at any given time because of the 3-action economy. If you wanted to choose to be stationary and sustain 3 spells at once, I think that should be your choice. I think if you're going to have a concentration spell, let it be concentration for the duration. You already have things like ranges. So if you're concentrating on like an illusion in one place and you walk away from that place, well, congratulations, you've already broken one of the criteria. If something is sustained, just let it be sustained. Or you have darkness here. Again, it says concentrate, but 1 minute. You create a shroud of darkness that prevents light from penetrating or emanating within the area. Light does not enter the area, and any non-magical light sources, such as a torch or lantern, do not emanate any light. Light cannot pass through, so creatures in the area can't see outside. From outside, it appears to be a globe of pure darkness. Now, see, this is tagged as a concentrate spell, but it doesn't even say sustain. So why is it even concentrate? Why does it say concentrate? Did somebody just miss putting sustain in there? I don't know. I'm not taking it. Dark vision, deafness, dismantle, dispel, Elemental Zone, Embed Message, Empathy, or Empty Pack, Enlarge. I'm not a transmuter. Entangling Flora, Environmental Endurance. Aha! This is one that I do like. Environmental Endurance. Shield a creature against dangerous temperatures. Choose severe heat or cold. The target is protected from the temperatures you choose, but not extreme. Interesting! Endure Elements was a spell back in Pathfinder when it was level 1. It protected you from hot and cold, but not severe. This is still protecting you from 2, but only in one direction. Still, though, that should be all you need. Environmental endurance. Right? Yeah. Alright, that's a good traveling spell. I do like my traveling spells. Everlight. Cause a gem to glow eternally. Gems are kind of hard to come by, though. Expeditious excavation. You remove loose dirt, dust, gravel, sand, and the like, though not solid stone, up to a size of a 5-foot cube. You know, for when you need somebody to start or to dig their own grave. You can do it for them. Exploding earth, extract poison, false vitality, falsify heat, far-flung fetch. You can pilfer an object even if it's outside the range of your fingers. That is tempting. That's rare, though. I can't take that. We can only take common spells. Fireproof. Does exactly what it says. Floating flame. Heat metal. Not always useful, but when you get the chance, it's so much fun. Have they made it so you can set or heat people's armor? Heats targeted metal to become red hot for a moment. This is usually harmless to an unattended metal item, which doesn't get a saving throw. The GM can rule that flammable materials connected to the object catch fire or melt. If the target is held by a creature, it can release the item. Okay, hold on. If the target item is worn or carried by a creature, or targeted creature is made primarily of metal, it deals 4d6 fire damage. So yes, if they're wearing metal armor, you can cook them alive. Okay, what else we got? Humanoid form, ignite fireworks, illusory creature. Yes. That's basically just minor illusion, I think. You create an illusory image of a large or smaller creature. It generates the appropriate sounds, smells, feels believable to the touch. Wow, believable to the touch? You can touch it? If you and the image are farther than 500 feet apart, the spell ends. It can't speak, but you can use your actions to speak through the creature with the spell disguising your voice as appropriate. You may need to attempt a deception or performance check to mimic the creature as determined by the GM. This is especially likely if you're trying to imitate a specific person and engage with somebody that person knows. In combat, the illusion can use 2 actions per turn, which it uses when you sustain the spell. It uses your spell attack modifier for the attack rolls and your spell DC for its AC. Its saving throws are equal to the DC minus 10. It is substantial enough that it can flank other creatures. If the image is hit by an attack or fails a save, the spell ends. Wow. It can cause damage by making the target believe the illusion's attacks are real, but it cannot otherwise directly affect the physical world. If the illusion creature hits with a strike, the target takes 3d4 mental damage. Its strikes are non-lethal. If the damage doesn't correspond with the image of the monster, for example, If an illusory large dragon deals only 5 damage, the GM might allow the target to attempt an immediate perception check to disbelieve. For example, if the illusion wields a warhammer and attacks a creature resistant to bludgeoning damage, the creature would then take less mental damage. Huh. PC says, if I animate dead on somebody's leather armor, can I take control of them? The answer to that is no. And the answer to that is no, because leather is cured and processed and is no longer considered to be the same thing. However, I admire your creativity. I'm taking illusory creature, though. This is amazing. This is so much more powerful than minor illusion used to be. Like, so much more powerful. Invisibility? Ooh, invisibility is good. I gotta think about that one. Laughing Fit, Laughing Fit. As in, like, Tasha's hideous laughter? Huh. That's usually a bard spell. Magnetic Attraction, Magnetic Repulsion, Marvelous Mount, Mirror Image. Oh, wait, nope, I gotta take that one. It's gotta be done. Alright, that's my 4 level 2s. What else do we got, though? Misdirection, Mist, Noise Blast, Pave the Ground, Penumbral Disguise. Persistent Servant, what is that? You call forth an unseen servant and task it to perform a specific chore repeatedly. Choose a basic instruction, such as sweeping the floor, picking up all the objects from the floor, and putting them in a designated bin. The servant performs the task over and over again throughout the duration, though it can't ever leave the spell's area. The servant is not a minion, and you don't need to sustain the spell in order for it to continue the act. However, it acts on its own time, and thus can't accomplish anything useful during an encounter, even if the encounter happens within the spell's range. Tasks that rely on timing, discretion, or significant manual dexterity are doomed to failure. For instance, a servant tasked to pick up objects from the floor will not discriminate between trash, misplaced treasure, or objects that are supposed to be on the floor, like a mousetrap. Interesting, though. Phantasmal Treasure, Phantom Crowd, Propulsive Breeze, Radiant Field. Resist Energy, that's a classic. Rubble Step, See the Unseen. Reveal invisible creatures in your sight. I took Create Water for that 1 level ago. Shrink. Splinter Volley. I can make metal needles. Why would you need Splinter Volley? Sticky Fire. Napalm. Summoner's Precaution, Summoner's Visage, Telekinetic Maneuver. That's interesting. Telekinetic Maneuver. Disarm, reposition, shove, and trip a creature telekinetically. So, the old telekinesis spell used to let you do that. Now they've made that a level 2 spell on its own. Oh god, what does that mean for telekinesis then? Because I liked that spell. Huh. Umbral Extraction, Voice in the Breeze, Vomit Swarm, Water Breathing, Water Walk, Waterproof, and Web. Okay. I mean, I feel good about my 4 choices here. PC says, okay, so they're dog meat from Fallout. Quick, boy, fetch me a weapon. Returns with a live grenade. Well, I mean, I would kind of hope it's a live grenade. As long as the pin's still in it, though. That's the important part. If it's not a live grenade, pulling the pin and throwing it's not going to do you any good. Okay. Oh, I need to scroll down a little bit. That nobody could see that. Okay. So level 3, I get 4 spells again. Let's take a quick look. So I'm almost out of time, but I feel like we can get through level 3. There's only 110. Let's try and be quick. Agonizing Despair. No. Aqueous Orb. Roll a ball of water. Puts out fires. Bind Undead. I'm not a necromancer. Blast Back. Blazing Dive. Blindness. I'm already blind. Who cares? Blister Bomb? What's that symbol? It's not rare. Bottomless Stomach. Store things in your stomach. I've seen that party trick. I don't like it. Cave Fangs. Make flowstone spikes, bite creatures, and impede movement. Clairaudience. Hear through invisible magical sensor. Cloud Dragon's Cloak. PC says, oh no, the pin was not in it. Watched a friend do it right out of the vault. Died immediately. Oh my god. Now see, that's actually why I didn't play Fallout. I got a copy of Fallout 3 on the PlayStation 3. And I literally went through, I did all the vault stuff. I walked out of the vault. I walked into a building, I think it was like a school or something. It was full of bad guys. They murdered me immediately. I took the disc out, I deleted the data, and I never touched Fallout again until I played Fallout 1 during the Humble Spotlight. And then I gave up that one too and just said, you know what? Fallout sucks. Fallout is a bad game. And I'm tired of pretending otherwise. So, yeah, I actually believe that entirely. What else we got? Cloud Dragon's Cloak. Cloud of mist enshrouds a target, appearing much like the deflecting clouds created by cloud dragons. They're treated as hidden for the purposes of resolving a triggering attack, so normally the attacker must succeed a DC 11 flat check to target it, and all ranged attacks against it for the duration. Okay. Cozy Cabin. Now here's an interesting one. You shape a cabin 20 feet on each side and 10 feet high. The cabin has the structure trait and has the same restrictions as magic items that create structures. The walls of the hut are simple and wooden, with small square glass windows, and it has one wooden door. It doesn't include its own lock, but it has a fastener to which the lock can be applied. The interior contains 3 cots, 1 chamber pot, and a small fireplace holding a magical fire. The interior is lit by a small magical light that you can either light or extinguish at will. The climate inside the hut is comfortable and allows creatures inside it to withstand most hostile weather conditions, but incredible heat or cold, powerful storms, or winds of hurricane force or greater destroy the hut. Other creatures can freely enter or exit the hut without damaging it, but if you exit the hut, the spell ends. You can dismiss the spell. You know what? I'm taking that one. If you're like an adventurer and you're out traveling, that's great. I mean, having like an actual bed to sleep in, cozy cabin, well worth it. Let's see. And JP says, it feels like these are all Temu versions of D&D spells. Well, here's the funny thing about that. They are. See, when Pathfinder was made, it was made by the same people that were working on Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. Which is why, when you went and played Pathfinder, all the spells seemed basically the same, because they were. They were literally the same. And, you know, despite what they might claim, Wizards of the Coast can't claim everything. Like the spell Magic Missile. Magic Missile was the same in both Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder. Why? Because they don't own the term magic or missile or magic missile put together. And they don't own the idea that it does 1d4 plus 1 damage, or that it hits 3 targets. Sorry, but it's not something that you can copyright. However, when they made 2nd edition, they decided to distance themselves from Dungeons & Dragons, for whatever reason, by simply renaming a ton of their spells. Like Phantasmal Minion, used to be Unseen Servant. It's Unseen Servant in Dungeons & Dragons. It's Unseen Servant in Pathfinder 1st edition. But they didn't want to have the same name as Dungeons & Dragons now, so now it's Phantasmal Minion. Why did they do it? I don't know. I imagine it's probably just pride. And Cozy Cabin, literally, hold on a second, hold on. Wizard. Sorcerer Wizard spell list. It's going to be down here in 2, I think. 2nd level, it's going to be a conjuration. Maybe not. Okay. No, wait, it'd be 3. Level 3. Level 3 conjuration. Where's level 3? Okay, level 3 conjuration. Is it not here? Where is it? Fine. There it is. Tiny Hut. So apparently it's... Yeah, okay, no. Sorcerer Wizard 3. I just didn't see it. Oh, it's an evocation spell. It's creating a tiny hut. Why is it not conjuration? And PC says, Storm's getting bad. Don't worry. I'll summon Jabba to help us. Jabba makes a hut. The party still does not want to acknowledge the wizard's help. JP says, I won't be able to transition. I'm still going to say Cantrip and Unseen Servant because I won't remember the new names for a while. It's fine. Like, I'm right there with you. And they're still called cantrips. I don't know why they attached a level to cantrips. Cantrips were always considered level 0 spells. And by the by, they still are. Like, let me go back to Wizard here for a moment. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all the way up to 10th, cantrips are still their own thing. You could replace this with level 0 if you wanted. It hasn't changed. But anyway, Tiny Hut. And this is actually pretty much the same as in Dungeons & Dragons. You create an unmoving, opaque shape of force of any color you desire around yourself. Half the sphere projects down or projects above the ground, and the lower hemisphere passes through the ground. As many as 9 other medium creatures can fit inside with you, and they freely pass into and out of the hut without harming it. If you remove yourself from the hut, the spell ends. Sound familiar? The temperature inside the hut is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If the exterior temperature is between 0 and 100. If it is below 0 or over 100, it raises the interior temperature by 1 degree for 1 basis. It provides protection against the elements such as rain, dust, sandstorms. It withstands any wind of less than hurricane force, but hurricane force or greater destroys it. Again, sound familiar? The only thing that has changed, literally the only thing that has changed, is the fact that Cozy Cabin actually creates a cabin with cots and tables and everything else inside it. But every single other rule has stayed the same. And JP says, what does it call a bag of holding? Is there a deck of various options? Well, a bag of holding, I've seen it. It's still just a bag of holding. I have not looked for a deck of many things, and I'm not going to either. I did that once. I knew that I shouldn't have, but I did it once. Never again. Alright, and I'm over time, so I gotta finish up level 3 here. Let's see. Cup of Dust, Disruptive Transfer, Dive and Breach, Teleport with Splashes of Water? Yeah, I don't want to go through the plane of water. Let's see. Earthbind, Elemental Absorption, Elemental Annihilator. PC says a bag of variable capacity. Fireball, it's a classic. Firework Blast, that's uncommon though. Ghostly Weapon, Haste, Hypnotize, Insect Form, Lashing Rope, Levitate. Who needs a ladder when you have Levitate? Magnetic Acceleration? Magnetically launch an item to attack a foe. There's enough magnetic spells in here that you could literally make a magnetic wizard. Which I do think is kind of interesting. If you wanted to go with a theme, you could do that. Paralyze Phantom Prison? You completely surround a large or smaller creature in immobile, illusory walls, trapping them inside a false prison it can't escape. No other creatures see or feel these walls, and the target can't see anything outside the illusory walls. The target can attempt a will save when the spell is cast, each time it attempts to interact or escape the walls, and each time something from outside the walls affects the target. On success, it disbelieves the illusion and the spell ends. That is kind of cool, but it seems really fragile. Rouse Skeletons, Safe Passage, Sandform, Shadow Projectile. React when an ally makes a ranged attack to create a shadow double of the attack. Okay. And JP says, Fireball is now Incineration Sphere. Well, I mean, they didn't do that. Like I said, Wizards of the Coast, for all their legal prowess, cannot own words. They can't do it. Which I'm sure chafes their ass every single day. It's bad enough that they own things like Beholder or Mimic. Because they absolutely do have trademarks on those. Let's see. Shifting Sand, Stinking Cloud, that's a classic. Tempest Cloak, Time Jump, Trade Items. That's uncommon, though. Vampiric Feast. All of the walls. Any wall that you want. A Wall of Radiance, Shadow, Thorns, Water, Wind. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of unimpressed by the level 3 options. Cozy Cabin's a good one. I like Cozy Cabin. In terms of the other ones, though... not seeing a whole lot that I really like. Now, that does give us some options. We don't necessarily have to take all of our level 3 spells. We could take spells from lower levels. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I would do. Oh, there's Lightning Bolt. So, okay, Lightning Bolt is a 120-foot line now. So Thunderbolt, you're calling down a bolt of thunder on top of your target. Lightning Bolt is casting a line of lightning directly ahead of you. And then presumably Chain Lightning should be in here too, and that allows you to just go point to point. I don't know. I might have to think about this one for a bit. I'm not terribly thrilled with any of these options. Alright, so here's what I think I'll do. I'll take some time to think about it. I'll go back over the previous levels and see if I can make a maybe list. I mean, a maybe list might be good here. So, we'll leave it there. And we'll pick up right where we left off when we come back here next week, which we should be able to rather easily go through the rest of the spells, because we only get 4 of each level, as opposed to the 10 and 8 that we got as for the cantrips and the level 1. But yeah, I'm definitely liking going through the spells a lot more than going through the feats. There's no options here that I can't take. And that's the real kicker. There's nothing here that I'm being told no. With all with the various skill feats, there were so very many of them that you just weren't allowed to take. So there's like 5,000 feats, but you're limited to 20 of them. Good luck. Spells, totally different. The spells are fun. And so, yeah, this is the good part of the whole thing. We're gonna have fun with this. But anyway, if you're not subscribed already and you haven't done that so far, make sure you do that. Hit the bell icon. That way you get notified when I come out. If you know somebody else who's also into Pathfinder or Starfinder, in particular 2nd edition, and you think they'd enjoy this, then share it with them. Otherwise, though, if you like me, you like what I'm doing, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. Join us in the Discord, especially if you want to play. We still have a Star Trek game going. You can still get in on that. I'm still trying to set up a Warhammer 40k game. And we can still play anything else that you want to do too. I have a list, and we can still play vanilla as well. So, up to you. If you want to play with us, come join the Discord. Otherwise, I hope to see you back here next week for more of me learning 2nd edition. And until then, take care.